Good evening. Good evening, friends. Thursday, January 17th, 2019. How time flies when you're having fun. I am Big Cheds coming to you live here. Just want to do a little update, guys. I don't always have enough time to do these shows, but I'm happy to do one here tonight. Just want to remind you, you can follow me on Twitter. I am at Big Cheds. I am a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live, best-in-class educational platform for crypto. And you can find my good friend on Twitter at Big Chonas. You know him, you love him. He's on Twitter and he's on YouTube at Chonas Trading. So what's going on? I want to keep it nice and easy tonight. You know, I enjoy doing these shows. I love interacting with you guys on Twitter and here in the chat room, of course. And, you know, I'd like to just touch base, see what you're thinking. And, you know, just to remind you, I am not an advisor. I am just someone who likes to talk crypto. I like to have fun. And by the way, I did an interview, actually. If you guys haven't seen it, I did an interview last week with the Coin Tribune. And I tweeted it out a couple times, about 30 minutes maybe. Really open, honest discussion. So I'm going to do a really basic primer here. Where I think we are, and then I want to jump in. I'm just kind of in the mood to do some altcoin requests. So you can even start firing out those requests whenever you're ready. So Bitcoin, essentially, everyone was talking about, obviously, the head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We have the failure at the neckline. We've talked about Litecoin breaking its neckline and failing on the back test. We've talked about Ethereum with its rounded bottom, potential for a cup and handle reversal. Just on a quick note, just kind of eyeballing it right now, looks to me like bearish continuation. So bear pennant perhaps. So that's, you know, probably not going to form that handle. But anyway, Bitcoin. So we were talking about the failure to break the neckline. Now, it broke neckline, but we have a lot of significance here in this level. I pointed out in my prior show, probably in an update I did in Bitcoin Live. We have the lows here from November, highs early December, consolidation period and breakthrough, served as support on backtest, and has since held. So even though we were rejected at the neckline, we have not broken critical support yet. If it does break, I think it's safe to say we're looking right around that 3K level. 3,200 level. I don't know what you guys think. Definitely let me know. You know, so I just pretty much gave you what I think of the three major ones. You know, let's jump right into the let's jump right into the chart request. Just like I said, EOS Pat. Let's go to my major watch list. Let's check out EOS. So I'm going to stay here in the 12-hour chart, my preferred time frame. It's got a lot of resistance. Let's remove the old marks. You know, kind of, you know, with any puzzle, you know, when you're doing a puzzle, you guys know when you're doing a puzzle and you fill in the edge pieces first. I like to look at whatever jumps out to me first, and this resistance jumps out to me. You can see many times the price has attempted to break through and hold, you know, close above, has been unable to do it. And then, okay, there's your resistance. Where's my support? A little bit of a double bottom here. So we have a clear channel here on EOS. Looking in the oscillators for clues. You know, resetting here. A little bit of weakness. Let's check out the Heikin-Ashi candles here. Just to get a sense here of the trend. Let me just take a look here. Okay. So it's kind of bulls have a little bit of momentum here. But we have a clearly defined channel regardless. I think if the price ever breaks, so what you could do here is you have a clear signal potentially if you can break up above and close, you know, break up and close above with volume. That would be a pretty clear signal if it ever gets to that. Let's jump right over to PIVX for CERN. I don't know that I have PIVX here. Let's take a look. PIVX, cryptocurrency. Let's take a look at PIVX. Hopefully you like that EOS analysis. It's kind of a tight range here in PIVX. You can see the Bollingers are pinching. OBV is strong. Okay, so, you know, if, on each of these peaks, notable to me is on the, except this initial peak, but on the subsequent peaks, especially the second one, there was not a ton of sell-off volume. So that is interesting. So kind of in the grand scheme here, we're holding some gains. Bulls are holding some gains. So you have what is kind of a logical level that served as resistance back in November, December. You know, you failed to hold it here in the back test, but you can see on this spinning top, it held as support. We've held it ever since. So it's not necessarily bullish. It's not necessarily bearish. With the Bollinger Pinch, that would suggest some type of a break one way or another shortly. But you know, for me, if you can hold support here on these lows, I'd say the low of the spinning top, that 2002 level, that's what you want to continue to watch. Let's 10x Nino. Let's take a look at ADA. Let's take a look at ADA. And just as a reminder, guys, please hit that thumbs up button if you like what I'm doing. If you don't like it, hit thumbs down. So we're looking at ADA right now. In the macro, ADA is bullish in the sense that it was able to regain that 1K support level. Let's just get a little bit more perspective here. Just kind of get a little bit more perspective here. So, you know, we've had this long, drawn down, this big pullback, right? And it's going to take some time to work through all these levels of resistance. Even if you believe that the bulls are in control and they've, you know, kind of reversed the trend, I think you can at least make the argument here for some type of a sideways action. I'm going to remove all those lines. Just for me, big picture, we have our lows established. We're working on higher lows. We have a second clear low here, and now we have a third low. So if you want to play it nice and easy, we're going to watch there. What do we have now? Do we have an equilibrium? We have a lower high. There's our high. Here's our next high. So, you know, you can play it like that. There's a lot of ways to play it. Watch the volume. 4 signals. Let's continue on to 1 for M Wind. Let's take a look at 1 chain. Bitcoin, what are we doing here? We're on the 12-hour chart. Just going to pull it up and pull it out. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's hit auto again. All right, I mean, bears are in control. It's pretty clear that bears are continuing to break the bulls' backs, right? They're unable to establish any type of low. You can see here, and I'm illustrating that these lows have continued to break the support, which is now resistance. So any move has to be measured against that. And you can see that's already happened once. Now, do we have a bull pennant? Okay, possibly. But there's some pretty decent sell volume here. Not quite a dark cloud cover, but you know, it's quite a decent amount of selling here and kind of mixed strength in the OBV. So if bulls want to make a strong case here, they need to hold the lows of that first peak, which would be around 885. If that fails, you know, obviously this low needs to hold. Otherwise, it's going to keep going down. You have to assume it's going to keep going down because the bears are still in control. You have to always assume that the current trend will change until there's overwhelming evidence, in my opinion, that it's going to change. Jacob Hopkins is asking about fun. Let's take a look at FUN. So, Funfair. I mean, there's not a lot of volume here. I'm just going to remove my old lines. I mean, it's kind of just been chilling sideways for a while. I know this one's pumped in the past. You had a couple attempted pumps here in the past, rejected at the 200 period moving average or in that ballpark. You know, you're seeing some nice accumulation potentially with the OBV here. You know, so you have support. But, you know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with this if you're willing to wait. and you can play it. It's a pretty straightforward play because you have such a tight channel, and you can kind of look for a break in either direction. Now look for volume behind it so you don't get faked out with like kind of a spring or an up thrust, but you want to watch for volume behind it, conviction in whatever the move is that it makes. But that's, for me, it's a pretty straightforward play. That's how I would play it. Carmen Cipolla, let's take a look at XLM. Yep, Stellar Lumen 29.57. Yeah, potential for a double bottom here. You could call it even a triple bottom if you want. We have the lows from September. This is an area, wow, okay. This is a very important area for XLM. Clearly that we're you know, bulls are continuing to reject lower prices. We have these lower shadows. Bulls rejecting lower prices. We are at an area of demand, well-established demand. It would be a catastrophe for bulls to lose support here. So, you know, I would be watching this area very closely if you're a bull. That being said, it's probably a decent spot to potentially scale in if you're talking about a well-established support level. You do, however, have, you know, pretty straightforward. You have a descending triangle. You can draw that if you want, which would suggest a bearish continuation, but really depends on what the bulls can do. If the bulls can continue to rally at a level that they need to hold. I mean, this is a big time level. You know, February, you know, all through April. Like I said, June, you know, not to beat a dead horse. September, it's bulls need to hold here. So few W's asking about Link. Let's take a look at Link. I think we do a few more of these here. Let's get a little bit closer, though, on Link, zooming in. So it's been on a pretty nice run here. It's held EMA 8 on the pullback, on the uptrend. Most of the time, dipped here, the MA 20. Let's remove my lines here just to get a clearer sense of what it's doing. So it's put in a short-term top. We don't know if it's going to continue on and find, you know, more support at these moving averages. I mentioned the MA 20 here, the brown line. We have the EMA 34. We do have a clear bearish divergence with the lower highs in the oscillator versus the higher highs in the price. We're seeing that in the OBV and the Vigor Index, pretty much in all of my oscillators. So that would cause a little bit of caution, probably a little bit more, a lot of caution. So I would be careful there. I'd be watching this level personally for some type of, if you want to try to do a trade, maybe a 5, you know, 10% move. This level right around 11K looks like a logical level for me. By that time, the Bollinger Band will probably have caught up. The lower Bollinger Band right here. Maybe even the EMA 34, you know, kind of like there. So anyway, that's something to keep an eye on. I've done EOS already. Now, Pat, I don't like to do EOS USDT. The BTC pair makes the most sense to me. So let's go with that. So Wehebe Darje is asking for pay. Let's do pay BTC. Let's take a look at that one. That one, so okay, it's had, you know, nice little downtrend here if you're a bear, and you know, kind of a downtrend break, but it looks like it's running out of steam. Let's just draw a couple lines here. I'm going to check that out. Okay, I have the candle closes. That's a downtrend line. You know, just not a lot of volume in this, so it's hard to draw too many conclusions. But you could point to the fact that the price did run into trouble and a logical level. We have the lows from the initial pullback where it held support for quite a while and bounced right at that 6,600 level from November through early December. So, you know, when it fell through and it lost that support, that became resistance. We're seeing that here. Not a lot of volume on this follow through though. So, you know, keep an eye and see if it can hold potentially a back test in this downtrend line. And I would say go from there. So I'm going to circle back to Bitcoin and we'll kind of wrap it up there. So Bitcoin, like I said, we have the failure to break through at the neckline, but we do have some support here in the intermediate support, well-established support that, significant support from the last couple months. It's held on the pullback, in November, in December, and in early January. So I would kind of play it that way. I would, if it does bounce, I would look for potential rejection again at this down-sloping resistance line. So I would kind of keep an eye on that. What do I mean by that? If we can kind of bounce here, I'd be looking to kind of potentially take profit and see how the price, reacts to that down-sloping trend line. Now, even if, just because the head and shoulders fell apart, you can still use this trend line as a potential signal. So, it's still in play. This trend line is, like I said, as a signal mechanic. And with that, I just want to remind everyone that you can find me on Twitter at Big Cheds. And you can find my good friend on Twitter, Big Chonas. He's on YouTube at Chonas Trading. He does a really nice mentoring service where he talks with you for an hour, and everybody loves it from all the feedback I hear. So I definitely would encourage you guys to check that out. And just to remind you, I am one of the original founding analysts at Bitcoin Live, the best-in-class educational platform for crypto. I've put together several articles on trading psychology, candlestick signals. I scan my watch list and I put out alerts, trade setups with target stop losses, things like that. And I'd like to do updates throughout the week, as well as a special segment where I scan a video, record myself while I scan my entire watch list. And the concept is that I want to teach you how to be a better trader. You can check out our webinars to see what we're all about. It's just a really great team. We also have featured analysts in addition to these guys, Big Chonas, a bunch of other guys are putting in some really great work. We have a monthly option as well as a quarterly option if you want to try out the platform before committing for a full year, which is definitely the best deal. I'm really proud to be part of Bitcoin Live. If you have any questions, please do reach out to me here or on Twitter. I'm glad you guys joined me for this video. I don't do them all the time, but I appreciate you guys showing up. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening and a great rest of your week. Big Cheds out.